terms of strategy, but also in terms of education and practice and programs. So it's absolutely fantastic what you guys have done. More recently, I am working with the New South Wales Office of Sport. Again, a wonderful opportunity where I'm leading pathway strategy and practice and education in New South Wales. And it's an interesting job because I have to sort of give advice to about 90 odd state sporting organisations and all stakeholders, but it's absolutely wonderful. And just a shout out to my colleague Pam that's actually on this webinar linking in tonight as well. The strategy that we're really excited about that we launched in November last year is called Future Champions. And it's a very diligent strategy we've put together to help better support emerging athletes in New South Wales. So if you're interested in looking further into that strategy, go down to that link at the bottom of that page just to find out a bit more about it. Okay, so that's just a bit of background. So what we're going to do in the session today, I'm just going to, is we're going to go, firstly, we're going to unpack the profile of our finest snow athletes. So really understand what was key to their development and where they've gotten to at a high performance level. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of having a really strong mental toolkit. And then we'll go from there and talk about the importance of self-regulation. And these are a set of strategies and skills that we found that are really critical to high performance and actually are a key ingredient for the preparation and performance of the high performance athletes. Then we're going to talk a bit about self-reflection, which is a critical skill that is the glue for good self-regulation. And then finally, we're going to put it into practice. So how can we better self-reflect in practice? So we'll go through some scenarios and I've got a bit of a template for you guys as well. Okay, so I just wanted to start off. I absolutely love unpacking what was key to many of our finest athletes, in their profile, in their development. So I've got a question for you guys that I'd really love to hear what you think. So I've got a picture here. I've got Brittany Cox, I've got Scotty J, and I've got Laura Peel. So I just wanted to ask you, what skills and characteristics do you think have underpinned their success? So is there anyone that would like to offer anything there?
Jump off their mic.
Oh yeah, you have to turn your mic off.
Oh, I was just going to say, if you like, I can nominate someone.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great, Beck.
Yeah, oh, there we go. Sorry, repeat that.
Determination. Yep,
perfect. So psychological skill. Yeah, anyone else?
Lottie said perseverance, and
yep.
Charlie Howes said determination.
Fantastic.
Goal setting from Victoria.
Excellent. Any more takers?
Hard work from Bella.
Yes, definitely. Definitely great. And we'll take a couple more.
Max said problem solving.
Yes, fantastic. I think you read the memo, Max.
And trying. Bella put just down trying.
Yeah, excellent. Now that's fantastic, guys. So all fantastic. And it's interesting, whenever I've run this exercise, and I've run it probably about 40 or 50 times with athletes, with coaches, with parents, with sporting organisations, what comes up trumps every time are those psychological skills and strategies. And that's what a lot of you guys have just offered then. So just to unpack it a bit more, as part of the work I did with Snow Australia and looking at the Fit of F10, the framework, we did some really neat unpacking of what the profile looked like to get to the very top. So I'm just going to share that with you now. So, and these are, I guess, a bit of a checklist for you guys to consider too, in what you're doing now, what you could be doing. So what we found was that a lot of these athletes have a really strong developmental background. So they're excellent movers. They've sampled within other sports or within the snow sports. They're doing cross training. They've done a lot of play, practicing their skills on the snow in play. They competed against peers and adults earlier. They've done a lot of hard work, a lot of training, and they've done a lot of competition exposure, and they've gotten a lot of experience from different types of competition as well. If you add to the profile, they've got the right fit of physicality as well. So not only do they make the most of their frame, their body dimensions, but they're also really robust, with the strength and their stability of their joints, their body. They've got really great posture. They've got really great neuromuscular coordination, control, flexibility, but also they can recover, pretty quickly from high workloads. In terms of physiology, so this is all about your engine. You find that these athletes have really great fitness, really great engines. They've got really good power and strength in their body. They've got phenomenal dynamic balance. You need to have that in your sports, and really great reaction time. In terms of sport-specific skills, these athletes can read the conditions, read the race, read your opponents, make the right decision, and execute perfectly. And they can do that time and time again, consistently, and they can do it under pressure, under different racing conditions, different environmental conditions, under fatigue. So they have a real technical and tactical adaptability and repeatability. In terms of well-being and engagement, they're good ambassadors in their sport, but also they have really good knowledge about what it takes to be an athlete and to have, the maintenance and longevity as an athlete. So this is about understanding about good hydration, good nutrition, good recovery, injury prevention. The list goes on. But also they're able to present a very strong and positive brand. They can deal with the media. They can deal with, any stressors that they might come across. And then lastly, just touching on what you guys all offered, they have a phenomenal psychological skill set. So not every athlete is the same in terms of their psychological skills. There's always a bit of a mix, but there's some skills and strategies that are constant. And what we found in elite athletes is this self-regulatory skills is a constant, a commonality of the finest athletes. This is really about understanding your strengths, your gaps, being well prepared, problem solving, and continual self-reflection and learning, and investment in your learning. But also they have good coping skills, they're emotionally intelligent, they've got great performance strategies, they're mentally tough and resilient, they want to keep learning all the time. So I call them the scholar of their sport, and they have high self-belief and confidence and really strong intrinsic motivation. So this is really like the magic formula that is really key to performing at your highest, and really are the commonalities, I guess, of our finest athletes. So as you can see, having a strong psychological toolkit is really, really key to performance, but also getting the most out of your development and in learning. So this is all about smart goal setting. It's about having positive self-talk. It's about being able to control your anxiety and your arousal, and being able to be present and to be able to have that breathing control. So know where you're at physiologically and being able to adapt. It's about routines and rituals. It's being mindful, using visualization skills that we're going to touch on next time I meet with you, and about self-reflection. So as I touched on in that last slide, these athletes are continually self-reflecting about what worked, what didn't work, what can they do next time. So these athletes are never satisfied. They're always wanting to hone their preparation, their performance. Now, the good news is that these are all practical skills and strategies that you guys can learn and that you can practice and you can use to really hone your preparation, your training, how you go in terms of performance. And also, these skills are really important to other parts of your life in terms of school, university, work, dealing with any stressors in your life. So really key set of skills. And that's really important because here we've got a representation of your pathway. So from your grassroots all the way up to the podium. And you can see it can start with strong foundations that we touched on before, but it's quite an interesting journey up to the top. It's not a straight, easy journey. You will find that you'll have peaks and you might have dips. You know, if you're injured or you got deselected or your performance didn't come to fruition. So those psychological skills and strategies are really important to enable you to endure this long journey and to make the most out, you know, your experiences and your learning. And then when we look at the realities of being an elite athlete, so you guys are on your way, you're pre-elite athletes, but when you're looking towards the high performance end of the pathway, these are the realities of being an elite athlete. So it's all about traveling overseas, adjusting your body, you know, your strategies, your preparation, dealing with expectation, balancing your other commitments in your life like school, uni, work, balancing your family, dealing with injury and illness, being able to access your support network and allowing them to assist you, putting in everything into practice and holistic preparation, coping with different courses and different environments all over the world, and then varying environmental conditions. And then more recently, dealing with chance events. So chance events are things that happen out of your control. So for instance, COVID-19, the pandemic, is something that was out of your control, but has had impact on your training and competition. So that's why the mental toolkit and having all those skills and strategies are critically important for enduring your whole journey, but also setting you up so you've got those skills well and trained for when you are an elite athlete and you have to deal with the reality of being an elite athlete. In my work, I've been really fortunate to work with many Olympians and Paralympians, and I am really grateful to say that I work with, as a PhD student, Lauren Burns. So Lauren Burns was an Olympic gold medalist in Taekwondo at Sydney Olympics in 2000, and she's actually one of my PhD students. And it's been an absolute joy working with her. And one of her studies was where she did a phenomenal job interviewing, I think it was 14 of our finest Olympians and Paralympians, just to really unpack what was key to how they got to their level and what was key to their excellent performance on the world stage. So if you want to learn more, read her paper, I can certainly send you the link. That's the title of it up there. Now, what she found after interviewing these Olympians and Paralympians, and some of them were like 7-time world champion athletes, the key ingredients that she found that led to their success was their psychological skills and strategies. They actually contributed their success to the psychological aspects of their profile rather than their physical prowess or their technical skills or their tactical skills. It was all about their mindset, their psychological skills. And what she found was that championship performance really embodies having the right psychological skills and strategies, the right champion mindset, and then that helped you to get the most out of your performance and your preparation, but also importantly, it helped you to really get the most out of your support networks and your relationships. And then incredibly importantly is the balance of lifestyle, time out of sport as well. So she actually put this model together that sort of encapsulates the ingredients and the right mix to get that high performance or that gold medal outcome. And she found that really it was the balance of all those things coming together that really give you that sweet spot, you know, getting that medal. So her paper is really a fantastic read. It has a whole heap of quotations in there from the Olympians and Paralympians where they actually share some of their key strategies that they utilise. So it's a well recommended read. So what she found, Lauren, in her study was that a lot of these athletes, actually all of these athletes, they were all characterised by strong self-regulation. And what I mean by self-regulation is it's a complement of practical skills and strategies, so psychological skills and strategies that assist with learning, continual improvement and performance. And it's really about taking ownership of your learning through utilising these skills and strategies. So it helps with learning and it helps with performance. So what I've got here in this diagram is really the flow of what she found of these athletes and what they did. So before an event, they were meticulous in their planning and preparation. They didn't leave a stone unturned. They knew exactly what they were getting into. They visualised it and they were really prepared, you know, in body, in mind for the event. Number two, during the event, they were phenomenal in terms of their self-awareness, checking in how they're going physiologically, how are they going through the competition, how are they going compared to their opponents. So phenomenal in terms of their self-monitoring. After the event, number three, they were incredibly good in terms of evaluating where they went well and where they didn't go so well. So they used a mix of internal feedback, how they felt they went, but also external feedback that was provided by, you know, their coach or competition data and so forth. And then finally, what they did after the event was revisit their gaps and look at and source potential solutions that they could experiment with to plug that gap so that they were prepared for the next time around, the next competition. So it was a continual flow from 1, 2, 3 and 4 that these athletes did. And it's interesting, when I spoke to Lauren about it, I said, did you realise that you did this? And I actually said, do you do this? And she said, yes, I actually do this flow, and I didn't realise that not everyone does it. And it's interesting, I think a lot of these athletes have just learnt and tweaked as they've gone and worked out this flow. But the key thing, the key glue to this process is continual self-reflection. And that's what I'm going to talk about and focus on today with you guys. So this is just unpacking what we found with Lauren's study. And I guess I've just spoken to that in that last slide. So we'll just go straight into self-reflection. Okay, so I run quite a lot of education sessions for athletes, and we do this activity, and it's drawing on this reflective cycle. It's called the Gibbs reflective cycle, and it's this flow of 1 to 5. So it goes in a clockwise fashion. And the Gibbs reflective cycle is actually used a lot in education in terms of promoting learning through self-reflection. So what you can do is, after a training session, after a competitive event, or it could even be an exam that you've done, what you can do is apply this line of questioning to unpack how you went and what you could do next time. So the first question is, in terms of describing you unpack what was the event. So you write down or you recall what was the event. Was it a competition? Was it a training session? The next question is, how did you feel before, during and after? The third one is what worked well. So after the training or the competition, what worked well? And on the flip side, what didn't work well? Then after that, you can then reflect on what did you learn from that experience. So what did you learn and what could you do next time? You know, what are some potential solutions that you need to look into to address that gap that you recognised in your self-reflective process? And this can be about talking to your coach, talking to your parents, talking to a mentor to get some ideas of potential solutions to address that gap. And then finally, just to round out that reflective cycle, is what will you do in preparation for next time? So the next time you've got a training session or an event, what things are you going to practice in the background so that you make sure that you're really prepared and that that gap is actually going to turn into a strength the next time round? So just to let you guys know, I've given a template to Beck that you guys can use at home that has this line of questioning to assist you. So I want to run through a couple of scenarios so that you get a feel for the flow, the line of questioning here to help with your self-reflection. So in terms of describe, what I've put as a scenario is, what was the key event? It was a key national level competition. So how did I feel before, during and after? I felt confident in my race plan and felt good, but the conditions changed. So it got a bit windy and a bit rainy and I felt less confident. How did I feel after? I didn't achieve my performance goal, so I was quite a bit disappointed. In terms of evaluation, what worked well? Well, I physically prepared, so I was really great in terms of my physical preparation. I felt hydrated, had enough energy. I was feeling really, really good, you know, on the board. But what didn't work well? I wasn't prepared for the conditions, you know, the changing in conditions, and I felt like I couldn't adapt my technique and my race strategy. So this, I've set up a bit of a scenario here, so I'll put it to you guys to give me some ideas about what did I learn through this scenario. Got any takers?
Does anyone want to jump in?
Anyone want to jump in? So what would your learnings be from the scenario I've just given?
Lottie just came in to say to be prepared for all conditions.
Fantastic, Lottie.
Anybody else?
Great, okay.
Yep.
That's great, Lottie. What are some potential solutions? So we take what Lottie just said in terms of not being prepared for the conditions. What are some potential solutions that you guys might consider?
So Lottie, BC came back to have a backup plan.
Yeah.
Karma came back with train in different conditions. Bella
Perfect.
came back, don't get yourself upset with yourself. Emily, ensure to train in a variety of conditions. Charlie, to be more mindful. Lisa, if the conditions change, everyone has to deal with. Learn to deal with it. Victoria, to be more flexible with different environments and to try to use the conditions to your advantage. And Matt,
fantastic.
Train on different courses.
Excellent. They're all fantastic potential solutions. I've got a little smiley face coming up on my screen.
Bo said, think of what you could have done better, to reflect on what you could do better.
Yeah, fantastic. Looking at the positives as well. So look, that's excellent. All what you guys have volunteered are all fantastic ideas that you can work on in your preparation. So that next time you have to deal with those conditions or a change in the conditions, you will actually feel prepared and confident, and it also will help with your performance as well. So that's just one scenario. I've got another scenario that I wanted to work with. Okay, so describe what was the event. So it was a key FIS event. My feelings, how did you feel before, during and after? I felt a bit fatigued before I went into the event, and this impacted my performance, and I was a bit disappointed as I didn't achieve my performance goal because I felt I didn't have enough energy. In terms of evaluation, what worked well? My technique was pretty good, but I just felt like I didn't have the energy reserves. What didn't work well? I felt physically fatigued. Maybe I hadn't recovered enough between races or event, or wasn't hydrated or had enough fuel. Okay, so I'll put it to you guys again. What have you learned from this scenario?
Okay, Tristan came in, make sure you're 100% ready to perform your best. Anyone else want to go?
Maybe just like analysing what you ate and what you drank that day as well.
Fantastic. That's a great suggestion.
Yeah. Lisa said to go to bed earlier. Georgia said use your time more wisely. Lottie, eat and fuel up prior to your event. Bella, to get lots of sleep. Angus, keep your hydration up. Charlie, sleep well and eat well. Kramer, be prepared and mindful what you eat during the week.
Fantastic. All excellent suggestions and all great potential solutions and things that you will revisit and try something a bit different in terms of your preparation. But you hit the nail on the head in terms of sleep, in terms of recovery, in terms of hydration, and in terms of nutrition as well. So these are all key things that you'd revisit in your action plan. So you might tweak your nutrition, your hydration in training and see how you go, before a key event. So that's all fantastic suggestions. Well done in terms of addressing both those scenarios. So I hope you get a feel now, I guess, the flow, the line of questioning that will help facilitate and prompt your self-reflective processes after training, after performance. And it's really, really valuable to do this. And the more you practice it, the easier it is, and it becomes habitual. It's something that you just generally do. You don't need a template to do that. Hi, Mr. Smiley Face. I keep getting a cute smiley face, which is sweet. All right. So as I touched on, I've given Beck a self-regulation template for all of you guys with that flow of self-reflection and with the line of questioning on there as well. And this is just to help you, after training and after a competitive event, to unpack how you went and what you might try the next time. As I touched on, like any other skill, it just requires practice. So the more you do it, the more proficient you'll be at doing it and the more you will get out of it. Now, I've got that fridge up there. So commonly, I actually say to a lot of athletes is put this template up on your fridge. So your fridge, you commonly go to your fridge quite a lot of times, or I do anyway, and you can see the template there and see that line of questioning, and it's just a prompt to get you to think, to self-reflect, to unpack. Some other people actually use a diary. So you might want to put this template in a diary. And a lot of our finest athletes actually do that. They keep incredible records of how they've gone, what their planning preparation was like, what were the outcomes, what are they going to try next time. So you might want to do it as a hard copy diary, or maybe it's a diary you do online. But in talking to Lauren, she's got diaries from way back before 2000 where she had everything mapped out, everything planned out, and she was self-reflecting all the way through just to make sure she was all ready and honed and prepared. Okay, so I guess the important thing with this is to ensure that you guys take ownership of your self-reflective skills. You know, don't rely on other people, I guess, to prompt you on them. You've really got to take ownership. Your parents, your coaches might help prompt you a little bit with the questions, but it's really up to you guys to take ownership and to really put effort into your learning through self-reflection. And what you can do once you find that you've got some gaps and you're looking for potential solutions, it's about being confident and being assertive and seeking people and information and knowledge to help support and find the solution for you. So this is about talking to your coach, talking to your parents, talking to your sports science, sports medicine providers, your mentors, to talk to them about your gaps, what potential solutions you might utilise. The other thing, important thing to stress is it's about experimenting too. So with everyone, you know, the same solution is not going to be a fit. It's about finding the solution to a gap that you've got that's a fit for you. That's really critically important. And the other important thing is to ensure it is a fit for you by utilising it, adopting it in your practice, in your training, to make sure it is a fit and it does address a gap and it turns into a strength. So this is all about continual experimentation to get that right fit. And this is a commonality of many, many athletes. They're continually experimenting and tweaking, you know, their preparation, their performances. And it's really about continually working on getting the right formula. You know, what is the right formula that's a fit for you for your preparation before an event? What's the right formula that's a fit for you within an event? And then what is the right set of solutions and formula for after the event in preparation for the next training or competitive event? Okay, so look, we're at the end of our session and we just touched on self-reflection and a bit of an introduction to self-regulation today and the mindsets of our finest athletes. Now, the next session, we're going to unpack some more of the psychological toolkit. We're going to talk about the importance of having a strong plan, being really invested and having ownership on your plan. We're going to talk about smart goal setting. We're going to talk about the power of visualization. And then I'll finish off about talking about embracing a challenge mindset and why that's so critically important for your learning, your development and your performance. So as I touched on right at the start, the great thing is these are all practical skills and strategies that we know are key ingredients to getting the most out of your learning, your development and performance. And the great thing is that you can learn all of these skills, and not only do they help you in sport, but they help you outside of sport as well. That's great.
Wonderful.
So thank you.